Hi there once again, grade 9. I hope you are still doing well by this time that you are watching this video and working on your module. Welcome to the third week of our module-based instruction, and we are still in a series of lessons on modals. Uh, the entire lesson is entitled Express, Permission, Obligation, and Prohibition using modals. But this week we will focus on modals that we use for prohibition. So like what I said, our lesson 3 will be about modals of prohibition. This is the last lesson on modals after we talked about modals expressing permission and obligation. So once again, our focus for this week is all about modals of prohibition. Our previous discussion dealt with the different modals used to express obligation. So to review, I have posted one review question, and that is, what modals do we use to express obligation? So you can try to look at your notes and find the answer to the question. Right? So the three models of obligation that we discussed last time were the modals must, has to or have to, and should. Where must and has to or have to uh, are used to express strong obligation, only that must is usually used in written English and has to or have to is used in spoken English. Should, on the other hand, is a model that we use to show weak obligation or only a sort of an advice or suggestion. So for this week, we have the following lesson objectives. 1. Express prohibition using modals. And the second one is to use modals to change a sentence's meaning into prohibition. Once again, your modules actually are one of the easiest there is in all the grade levels, and we only have two lesson objectives this week, and I think they're not really difficult to achieve. Hopefully we can achieve these lesson objectives by the end of our discussion and by the end of your reading the module. So before we proceed to our discussion proper, kindly answer on your notebook what I know on page 3 first. Once again, please pause the video while answering. Get back to it after you're done. So this is where we start our lesson proper. So as you can see there, I have already enumerated our models of prohibition. By the way, when we say prohibition, it means not allowing something to happen, or kung sa aton pa sa Ilonggo, pagbawal or pagpangindi. So all in all, we have three models of prohibition, and they are cannot, the contracted version is can't. The contracted form, I mean, is can't. The second one is may not. It doesn't have a shortened or contracted version. And the last one is must not, which has the contracted form mustn't. So once again, the three models of prohibition are cannot or can't, may not, and must not or mustn't. So let us talk about the three models of prohibition individually, starting with cannot or can't. Just to remind you, the same set of information can be found on your module. So, like I said, this video lesson is only intended for those nga medyo mas namian nga ginadiscuss ang lesson kontra magbasa. But actually, the module is very easy, and bisan wala pa ni ang video, pwede gid ka mo katuon or pwede gid ka mo makatuon dito sa module by yourself. Okay? So once again, let's discuss the models of prohibition one by one, starting with cannot or can't. So as you can see there, cannot or can't is the most common model of prohibition among the three. It's usually the one which is being used or which is used mostly to show that something is bawal or hindi pwede. However, among the three, cannot or can't is also the least formal. Okay? So remember, when we discuss our models of obligation and permission, we already emphasized nga ang language has certain levels of formality. May ara ginagamit when we're talking to somebody older than us. May ara man ginagamit nga appropriate model when we're talking to somebody nga kaedad na lang. So among the three, cannot or can't is the least formal. It means it should be used only for someone who is younger than us or someone who is our age. So you have there the following examples. You can't drive here. And you can't wear a hat in class. So it's very clear that the models can't in the first sentence and in the second sentence are models of prohibition because it tells you that something is not allowed. Okay, so you have there the last item also. Can't is normally used to show inability. Kaya di ba isa pagid ka meaning sang can is to show nga kaya mo himuon ang something. So therefore, ang can't, which is the negative form of can, is also used to show inability. It means hindi mo kaya himuon ang something. But in the examples above, so you can't drive here, kag you can't wear a hat, it shows prohibition. It is like saying that you do not have the ability because of the rules. So somehow, ang cannot or can't there, which is used as a model of prohibition, still has something to do with the use of can't, which means inability. In relation to cannot or can't as models, as a model of prohibition, you could also ask questions about the rules. Like in the examples given, can I leave my things here? And can I park my car in this space? Of course, since cannot or can't is a model of prohibition, it can also be used to ask whether the rule exists or not. You can also use the negative and say, can't I leave my things here or can't I park my car in this space? The second model of prohibition is may not. Like what I said, may not is always spelled out in its full form. It does not have a shortened or contracted form. So may not is the most formal way to prohibit something. Okay? So in terms of the level of formality, again, may not is the most formal way to express prohibition. Because it is the most formal, it is mostly used in written prohibition. Okay? The ones that are usually seen on paper, dira ginausar ang aton nga may not. So for examples, we have the following. You may not smoke in the house, you may not wear shoes in the office, or you may not eat in the conference room. Also, like can, you could also ask questions about the rules with our model may. And say, for example, may I eat in the conference room or may I wear shoes inside? Our last model of prohibition is must not or mustn't. So among the three, the distinctive quality of must not or mustn't is that it is the strongest way to prohibit something. So in terms of intensity, must not or mustn't is the strongest. So as you can see there in the examples, you must not use your cell phone inside the church. You must not write with pencil, and you must not play music. So the meaning of the uh, sentences rather, have become more intensified in terms of the prohibitive tone because the sentences used the modal must. And this is where our lesson on models of prohibition ends. I did not have to explain it too long because actually the lesson is quite simple and easy to understand. Actually, bisan ikaw na lang ang nagbasa dira sa module kag nag-insindi, maintindihan mo gid because the lesson was too easy and too simple. So, at this point, I would like you to get your notebook once again and try to answer the following activities indicated on your screen. So we have their exercises on page 6, what I have learned on page 7, what I can do also on page 7, and assessment on page 8. Okay, so I hope you will do well once again with your activities, and I hope to see you next session.